You don't just inherit your eye color or your hair from your family. You inherit their patterns, their wiring, and their wounds. The chaos that your mother tolerated, the silence that your father carried, and the abuse that nobody wanted to name. That inheritance does not disappear. It lives in your body, and unless you burn it out, you will keep repeating the same patterns you swore you would never touch. That is why trauma will keep being your type until you heal your nervous system. I'm Megan Webster, an abuse recovery coach, a trauma-informed strategist, and the woman a narcissist hopes to never meet twice. This is the Narcissist Worst Nightmare podcast, where survival ends, shadow becomes power, and you rise as the woman impossible to manipulate, magnetize, or replace. When you are dating after abuse, you do not start from zero. You start with an inheritance, not money, not opportunity, a nervous system blueprint. If your parents fought constantly, you inherited the belief that loves mean volatility. If your mother tolerated mistreatment, you inherited the belief that safety means silence. If your father shut down, you inherited the belief that distance is desirable. This is the invisible inheritance that nobody talks about. It's not in your DNA, it's in your body. It's that feeling in your stomach when you meet someone calm and you want to crawl out of your skin. It's the panic when someone is consistent because consistency feels suffocating. I had a client recently share with me that she thought she was choosing the opposite of her dad when she was dating, but every man she picked ended up being the same. That's inheritance. That's the body chasing what it already knows. I had 2 narcissistic relationships back to back, different face, different name, same storyline, same behavior, and same mannerisms. About a year into my marriage, I had shared with a therapist that my marriage looked exactly like my parents. She asked me about my relationship with my dad, and when I was done, she said, "Yeah, that makes sense. You're begging to be seen, to be loved, to be validated, to be chosen, something your dad was unable to do." And that was the first time that it fully clicked for me. The patterns, the trauma, the wiring. I didn't choose narcissists. I chose men who were like my dad. I was trying to recreate something that would ultimately have the same outcome. Here's a savage truth. Your nervous system does not pick what's good for you. It picks what is familiar. So until you break that trauma inheritance, you will keep thinking your type is a preference when it's really programming. And this is exactly why I created the Black Cat Academy. Because dating after abuse is not about getting back out there. It's about breaking the inheritance that wired you to choose chaos in the first place. And that's how you start to rewire for sacred love. So how does trauma become your type? Your body remembers the chaos. And chaos is wired to feel like chemistry. That's why the safe man feels boring. That's why you nitpick the consistent one. And it's why you self-sabotage the stable relationships. It's not because you don't want love. It's because your inheritance taught your body to panic in peace. This is why trauma becomes your type. You didn't just live through abuse, you absorbed it, and your nervous system called it home. I had a client share with me that she had a date with a nice man, but she didn't feel anything at all. She said he did everything she could have asked for. He was present in conversation, asked deep questions, consistent with communication, but she did not want to see him again. The word she used for it was boring, that there was no chemistry. When we dove a little bit deeper, I asked her to describe chemistry to me. What does it look like and what does it feel like? And what she was explaining to me was a very dramatic movie theater kind of love. Fireworks, ripping clothes off, obsession level connection. And when we unpacked it, why she believed that's what chemistry was, she said that's all she's ever known. Men who have captured her with love bombing, future faking, manipulation just to get her into bed, only to ghost her. And I can still remember the look on her face when she saw the truth, like jaw open, holy shit moment. That's inheritance. The body confusing calm with emptiness because chaos was once your lifeline. So when safety and security and kindness and gentleness show up, it doesn't just feel foreign to you, it's actually dysregulating. That same client ended up seeing the nice guy for about a year. Their breakup was amicable, just 2 people who had different life visions. But what the relationship taught her was that she needed deeper healing and that her choices were based off of trauma, not of truth. She created safety and validation within herself. So even when the breakup happened, she didn't go on an emotional roller coaster. She didn't abandon herself to try to make it work. Her standards were raised and she honored and respected herself first and foremost. She didn't beg or plead. They just stopped seeing each other. Here's something that you need to hear. You didn't fall for the narcissist, the avoidant, the abuser because you were blind. You fell because your body recognized that pattern as home. Your chest lights up when he ignores you because your nervous system remembers waiting for your dad to call. You cling harder when he withdraws because your body remembers lowering your voice to keep mom from leaving. This is why trauma feels like desire. Not because your standards are broken, but because your nervous system equates intensity with intimacy. And until you name it and call it out, you are going to keep chasing that adrenaline spike and mistaking it for love. So how do we stop this? How do you break this cycle? First of all, you have to name it. We are no longer going to pretend we're just unlucky in love. We have a bad picker. You are not any of the things that you've made up in your head. This is trauma. Second, we need to rewire. This is not positive thinking. This is not manifestation. This is nervous system work. Sitting in calm when it feels wrong. Choosing stability even when it makes you itch. Practicing discernment until your body can tell the difference between sacred love and a fucking leash. Third, you rise. You stop dating from those wounds and you start dating from power. Instead of asking questions like, will he choose me? Or I hope he chooses me. Or I hope I'm good enough. You start asking things like, does he deserve my time and attention? Does he get access to me? The black cat woman, the one who knows trauma is not her type anymore, power is. Standards are. Sovereignty is. Now, who do you have to become, right? Like, you are the gatekeeper of access, not the applicant for affection. The woman whose body is her home, not a hallway for old ghosts. The one who can sit in silence without spiraling, who can say no without guilt, who can hold a boundary and keep her heart open. You are the standard. You lock the door. You are not impressed by chaos. It is disinteresting to you. What needs to change at a soul level for you to end your loyalty to suffering? Grieving the fantasy of who they could be, their potential, the manipulation, the identity that you've built around saving them. Those tie back to your childhood. And you need to sever that tie of, I'll be easy, I'll be quiet, I will overgive to be loved. That is a survival rule. That is for your parents' love, your family's silence. You need to choose your truth over hope and possibility. You need to choose self-respect over belonging and choose peace over that dopamine hit. Awareness and triggers are going to happen, and I've mentioned this before on previous podcasts, but they're not bad things. Triggers are keys to awareness to allow us to see what needs our time and attention. I like to think of it as a map. So here are some ways that you can track this after abuse while you're dating. The silence spike, so his delayed reply makes you panic, you feel a bit of something in your chest and you want to chase. Take note of that. The rush to define things, exclusivity, yours, mine, really big words or phrases. If they want intensity really early on, watch how your body terms that. A lot of the times my clients would be like, well, that's fate. That's soulmates. No, we don't rush into things. That's not how we operate anymore. There's going to be soft tests. It might be a small amount of disrespect wrapped into a joke. And what normally happens, you laugh it off. The schedule slip, this could be chronic lateness or forgetting the time. It might be a micro withdrawal, the forget to text, forget to book the restaurant, and you try to explain it away. Every trigger is going to be a key for you to understand your trauma inheritance better. Naming it in the moment that this is old wiring, not a green flag, is going to be very important for you. We do not perform. We do not fix. And I want to share 6 keys with you to learn how to date safely after abuse, okay? Pace over passion. Chemistry can wait. Character cannot. Consistency over charm. Charm is a costume. Consistency is a healthy pattern. Verification over stories. Watch what he repeats, not what he promises. Boundaries early on. No is not a mood. It is access to your protocol. Keep your life full. Do not collapse your world into a situationship that you are texting. Conflict happens. How he repairs when he's wrong is who he is. And this is why support is not optional. It's really crucial for you. Trauma will try to talk you out of safety in the quiet. It wants you to rewire alone because it'll keep you in that loop, right? You want to be in a room that holds you steady with feedback and love and understanding when your body is learning that calm is not a threat. You've operated this one way for so long. You need a mirror that's held up to you to call out the sabotage, the scripts that keep you from over-explaining, practices that regulate the spikes so you don't text the past. This is why the Black Cat Academy exists. It's not to cheerlead you back into chaos, but to train your nervous system to choose peace and your standards to hold the line. This is also what I'm going to be sharing with you inside of Forged in the Fire, Scars into Sovereignty on October 23rd. It is free, it is live, and it's going to drag the inheritance into the flames and walk out with a body that knows peace is safe, desire is data, and standards are sacred. What most people don't realize when you heal your trauma inheritance, you don't just change your love life, you actually change your lineage. Because inheritance does not just get passed down to you, it gets passed through you. Every time you collapse in chaos, every time you abandon yourself in love, every time you tolerate mistreatment, your friends, your children, other women, they're watching you, they see it too. But when you burn the inheritance, you break the cycle. You create a new blueprint. You become the woman who shows her children that love doesn't scream, safety isn't suffocating, and worth isn't earned through pain. That is your legacy shift. That is sovereignty. And here is a savage truth for you. Your kids, your parents, your friends do not need someone who tells them about self-worth. They want to witness their mom, their friend, their daughter live it. They don't learn by lectures. They learn by watching. They can't love and support when you decide not to choose peace and you choose chaos instead. They want to watch you enforce your standards instead of swallowing disrespect. And when they see you say no without guilt, you show them, not tell them, you show them what safety is, not survival. You are not just breaking the cycle for yourself. You are rewriting what love means in your bloodline. That is the fire you get to walk through. That is the sovereignty you get to pass on. And this is what we do inside of the Black Cat Academy, where women stop dating from wounds and start choosing from power. Your trauma inheritance will keep running your love life until you stop laughing it off and start choosing to burn it. The chaos that your parents tolerated, the silence that they carried, and the abuse that no one named is not yours to repeat. You have an option to end this. Because when you break the cycle, you don't just change who you date, you change what love means in your world. And here's a part that I want you to sit with. If you don't heal, it doesn't die with you. It gets repeated through you. The cycle continues until somebody says, no more. And I know that someone is you. That's when you will stop mistaking chaos for passion, when you stop calling destruction chemistry, and when you stop begging for access to men who couldn't meet you if they tried. And you want to know what sacred love really feels like. It feels like the absence of panic in your chest. It feels like a body that does not brace for rejection. It feels like you can finally breathe around the man that holds you. Sacred love doesn't show up when you find him. It shows up when you stop betraying yourself long enough to recognize him. If this episode cracks something open in you, good. That means you are not just healing, you are evolving. Share this with another woman who needs it. Hit follow so you don't miss the next one. Send me a DM on Instagram and tell me what landed for you. And do not forget, Forged in the Fire, Turning Your Scars into Sovereignty is happening live October 23rd. Free, raw, in the room you are going to burn down the trauma inheritance that's been running your life. You don't just survive it, you rise into sovereignty. This is the Narcissist Worst Nightmare podcast, and remember, you are not just hard to break, you are impossible to replace.